The story that dropped today, Tuesday, March 10, 2026, is one of those moments in Nigerian politics that stops you completely because the layers of irony, the brazenness, and the sheer symbolism of what was done are almost too much to process all at once. Senate President Godswill Akpabio, the man who Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan publicly accused of sexual harassment, the man whose Senate suspended her for 6 months, the man who has been at the center of one of the most explosive gender and power battles in Nigeria's legislative history, quietly removed Natasha from Nigeria's official delegation to the 70th session of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women in New York City. And he replaced her with a man. Let that sit with you for a moment. The United Nations Commission on the Status of Women is the most important global platform for advancing gender equality and women's rights. The theme of this year's session, CSW 70, is Improving Access to Justice for Women and Girls. It runs from March 9 to March 19 at the UN headquarters in New York. And Nigeria, under Akpabio's Senate, sent a male senator to that conference after quietly removing the female senator who was actively trying to attend. The male senator who took Natasha's place is Adeniyi Adegbonmire, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, and Legal Matters. He is going to a conference about women's rights in place of a woman who has been fighting for hers. Now here is the full story of exactly how this removal happened, because it was not a single decisive act. It was a series of small bureaucratic moves, quiet administrative decisions, and broken promises that together add up to something that Nigerians watching this situation are calling a deliberate and targeted act of institutional silencing. In late February, the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs reached out to Natasha and requested the photo page of her international passport, a standard procedure indicating she was being considered for inclusion in the delegation. She submitted her passport details within hours of receiving the request. Then, she was told she would not be going because, officials claimed, she submitted the details too late. That explanation did not hold up, and she publicly challenged it at a Senate Committee on Appropriations meeting on February 25th, saying she should not be treated differently from other women, especially at an event designed to advance the well-being of women. At that meeting, Senator Ireti Kingibe, the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Women and the FCT senator, made a public promise. She said she had recommended Natasha for the trip after 2 other female senators, Idiat Adebule of Lagos West and Epalibo Banigo of Rivers West. She said if Natasha did not go, she would also stay back. That promise was made openly in a committee meeting in front of other senators. But on March 5th, Kingibe wrote a letter to Natasha explaining that the Ministry of Women Affairs had not yet responded to the sponsorship request and that ultimately only 2 members had been officially nominated, herself and Senator Adeniyi Adegbonmire. She apologized. She advised Natasha to attend independently if she had a valid US visa. In other words, find your own money and make your own way to New York if you want to be there. If the story of Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, one of the most consequential political and gender rights battles in Nigeria today, is one you are following closely and you want every development explained in full, please subscribe to this channel right now, hit that notification bell, and be the first in your circle to know what happens next in this saga. Here is what makes this moment even more significant and painful. Nigeria has only 4 female senators out of 109. In a chamber of 109 senators, 4 are women. 2 of those 4 women, Adebule and Banigo, declined to go to New York for a conference about women's rights. That left Kingibe and Natasha. Kingibe went. Natasha was replaced by a man. Nigeria's representation at CSW 70, a conference where every seat carries influence over international policies on gender equality, now includes a male senator in a slot that was taken from a female senator by a Senate president she has publicly accused of sexual harassment.
A Senate staff member who spoke to Premium Times on condition of anonymity gave the reason that the Senate leadership had in mind. They were concerned that Natasha might use the international platform to raise issues that will be damaging to Nigeria's image. Think about what that means. The Senate leadership is not denying that what happened to Natasha, the suspension, the alleged harassment, the systematic sidelining, could be damaging if it reached an international audience. They are acknowledging through that concern that the story is damaging, and their response was not to fix it. Their response was to make sure she could not tell it. Here's your question for today. Do you think Akpabio's Senate deliberately removed Natasha from the UN Women's Delegation to prevent her from speaking on an international stage about her treatment in the Nigerian Senate? And do you believe that replacing a female senator at a conference specifically about women's rights is a sufficient response from a Senate that claims to support gender equality in Nigeria? Drop your honest answer in the comments below. Share this video so every Nigerian following Natasha's story gets the complete picture of what happened today. Like it if this breakdown gave you everything you needed. And stay subscribed because Natasha has never stayed silent and her response to this latest act of sidelining is going to be one to watch.